Hello, I hope you're having a perfectly balanced day. This past weekend I went to the UK National Championship. For this event with 1100 players, I chose to play pure Mitsurugi. After 11 rounds of Swiss, I finished in 7th with a record of 9 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw. I lost my top cut match, but it was still nice to be able to make top cut at a major event once again. Pure Mitsurugi was what I chose because it plays better than the other top tier decks into the Molchamis, and still has good lines of play into draw. The deck does have a lower ceiling than the other top tier decks, but it still has great toolbox options and is very rewarding to play correctly. If you want to learn how to play pure Mitsurugi correctly, and if you want to improve at the game in general, I have a bunch of resources available for you in the Balanced Biblioteca on Metafy, which includes articles, videos, and a 24/7 deck doctor. To give it a try, you can enter the limited code BALANCE100 for a free trial month. So after you make your account, you can get that first month of Researcher tier for free. There is only 100 of these promo codes, so don't miss out. But with no further ado, enjoy! So, starting with the main deck, we have the obvious 3 Habakiri, 2 Murukimo, and 1 Futsu. Futsu is the backbone of the pure deck. It's really hard for every deck that's not Memento to kill you through Futsu, and it gets you infinite follow-up too. 2 Murukimo is very standard for pure. I know some people do side out Warden going second, but I personally don't recommend it because I think that Bystials and Crow are a lot more popular now. And although you can recur your Murukimo after it gets Bystialed or Crowed, if they have multiple in their deck, it's really hard to make a valuable push in a simplified game state if you lose all your Murukimos. So I think that having 2, even post-siding going seconds, is correct. And then I do play the Night Sword Serpent. I think that you have to play either Serpent or Wosu in the main deck. I didn't quite like the idea of playing both, because they're not super high value cards to draw, at least going first. But Wosu I felt like was at first really good in my testing, but the more I played it, the less I really wanted it. There wasn't really boards where I wanted to tribute anything in particular to then get Reptile locked, because the boards were just 2 layers. I wanted to have more spots in my deck to play hand traps to, so I didn't want to commit another slot to playing both Wosu and Serpent. And Serpent, I think for me, was a lot more important, because it gives you a higher ceiling, lets you play into draw better, and I think that this card is especially important post-siding versus Malice, because you need it to send Under Mistaken Arrest. And one more thing to add there is that the side patterns are all on the Metafy Masterclass, but I don't normally side this card out going second, because I like it to have the option to play through draw behind a half board if I need to, because otherwise it's quite hard, I think, if they draw you and they have a half board, even after you hand trap them. Having the Serpent is quite nice. And it's not a terrible card to draw going second in Mitsumura's, because it's a nice card to discard off Murukimo. Off of their Murukimo, I mean. Then I play 2 Aramasa, 1 Saji, 1 Kusanagi for the level 4s. My deck is very similar to Joshua Schmidt's, but it's a little bit different. Josh plays 3 Aramasa and plays 2 Extrav. I play 2 Aramasa, 1 Extrav, and 1 Prosperity. Here they are. Reason being is that I think that Prosperity is a better card than Extravagance for sure. And Extravagance not only is not guaranteed to find you Engine, but you have to do it first. So if you open up Extravagance plus Habakiri, you play really hard into draw Lockbird. Whereas if you open up Habakiri Prosperity, you can just do Habakiri first, and the Habakiri line is good into draw. But the reason why I play 2 Aramasa instead of playing 3 Aramasa and cutting Extrav entirely is because if you open up like a Molchami going first, and your only plays Aramasa, and you get hand trapped on Aramasa, when you pass back, you're not able to Molchami them. Whereas if your only play is a pot, and this gets stopped, then when you pass back, you have Molchamis. Of course, you will have no cards on your field. I like having Extrav at least post-siding against Malice going second, because it's another card to beat Mistaken Arrest. And I do mention this card quite a lot because I think Mistaken Arrest is a big issue for this deck, because you have to draw the ritual spell in your opening hand in order to be able to play through it. So having Extrav to help you find that ritual is quite nice. But generally, in most matchups, I take out both pots, with the exception of keeping in Extrav going second against Malice for that mistaken arrest. Free ritual. This is another benefit of playing pure Mitsurugi, which is that you have a much higher count of Mitsurugi cards compared to, say, the Mitsurugi deck. Your engine is a lot harder for them to focus down. You have so much gas with your Mitsu cards. I never side to less than 3 because I keep in 2 Murakumo always to play around Bestials and Crow, so I want to keep in 3 Ritual as well to be able to pair it with Murakumo. Then 3 Prez, this card will probably get limited. 3 Pre-Prep, another good starter of a pure deck, and the 1 Mirror. Unfortunately, it's a bit sad to open up Mirror plus Pre-Prep, but it's not worth to play 2 Mirror. The card, although not being a super hard brick, is quite a low value card, and you don't really want to draw it if possible. And then I play 1 Magatama. I do not main deck the trap card. The more that I tested the deck, the more that I found that you don't really need the trap card, because ending on IP Futsu Prez Magatama is perfectly fine. And I also think that I don't want to main Magatama plus the trap, because I want more slots in my deck to dedicate towards playing hand traps. Then I play 1 Kubai. I don't main Talents or Crossout. The reason for that is that I think that Talents doesn't help you beat Droll going second, whereas this does. And I main deck 3 Frivolous, and 3 Perulia, and 3 Droll. These are, of course, the best hand traps right now to have in the main deck. Of course, these are blanks going first, but sometimes when you're forced to pass back after you get hand trapped, then these become live in your opponent's turn. And they do, of course, conflict with Droll, but that can be fine too. You can do some things like let them search on resolution for the loss, whenever you actually feel lost, you have Droll. So it lets you feel a bit more safe opening up a combination of 2 of any of these, because chances are that at least one of them will resolve if you draw 2 of them. And another big reason to play this deck is Impulse. This card, although not amazing into the standard Mitsurugi deck, is very good into the other decks as both a hand trap and a board breaker. And then I play 1 Nibiru because I play Ganon Granite to search it. The card generally isn't that great because we are not playing a high hand trap count, but it is of course good with Granite. I play 15 hand traps because I main deck 1 Machinamus and 1 Jewsworm. These cards were fantastic the entire weekend. Even in top 32, where I lost to Malice, it was so good to have Jewsworm to banish a already used White Binder. These cards are such high value. In the games where you open a weak hand, they're quite good to just sit on until you draw playable, because they are both really good. Magnemove, of course, is the best one, but Jewsworm is also a powerhouse too, and having something to have an edge over the mirror match is quite nice. That is the main deck of 40. The deck doesn't have starter overflow, in the sense that you don't have like loads of starter cards, so I don't think you really want to go over 40 with this deck. We'll go on to the extract now, and we'll start by going back to the 1 Extrav that I play, because I play Extrav because, as mentioned earlier, I think it's better than a 3rd Arrow Master. The awkward part with this, of course, is that with only 1 Extravagance, you are warping your extract to play it, which then feels a bit weird because you're doing that to play a single card in your deck. So what I did was I chose to play 2 IP, 1 Mondo, 1 SP, 1 Underworld. And the reason for this is that this I felt like was enough to be comfortable with using Extravagance, and at the same time, every game that I don't draw Extravagance, this still makes sense because 2 IP actually can come up. Because since our M board is IP and Futsu, the Futsu has not used its effect yet, so if they use Nibiru, if the Futsu comes back, we get the token, we can summon a name and make a 2nd IP after they Nibiru our 1st IP, so we get the same M board even if they use Nibiru. And even though Mondo is very important, I don't think you need it in your extra deck, and if you happen to banish it, having like IP SP or IP Goddess is very nice as well. And Goddess I think is generally very good. I think it's very underrated. I play it mostly for the mirror match, because it can negate things like Prez, Futsu summoning from grave, any of the rituals coming back from grave. It's also a good out to towers-like monsters because I don't main deck for Rosu. Since you get infinite bodies with Futsu, you have more than enough to link off with IP into Goddess as a good interruption as well. The other time you can use this is that if they end on Baguska Cross Detonator, and they're holding the cross for a Danamondo or an SP, then you can just summon 4 bodies, being a link 2 and 2 bodies, and then you can link off the Detonator into Underworld Goddess, which will then negate the Baguska, and it can also negate the effect of Eclipse Twins as well to Reborn. And then for the last Link monster, I play Dark. Dark, of course, is very good right now, doesn't need much of an explanation. And I play quite a few rank 4s because we play Serpent, and with Serpent, the rank 4s come up quite a bit more. So we have the Ferrolimps, we have Exciton. This card's very, very good. I like this card a lot, especially because not everyone will be prepared for it. You can go draw phase, Prez into a 4, main phase summon a 4, make this. You can make it later in the turn by going Serpent Reborn, summon a guy, make Exciton, very good with Zeus too, which I also play. Then we have Tornado. This is very good for Zeus as well. And in general is a good card to force out back row, like force out the MPT or GWC. Baguska I wasn't too sure on. I was between playing this and Cowboy, but I think it's nice to have because of Regenesis. Regenesis was my only loss in Swiss, and this did help in the game, but I lost still. But it felt good to have it in that matchup, so I think I would play it again. Then we have Dugares, Granite to grab Nibiru. For the non-rank 4s, we have Dingersu. This is great in any Mitsu Mirror match, because you get to send non-targeting and protect your own board from their Mirakumo. Then we have Zeus to make with the aforementioned Tornado and Exciton, but generally you can make it with any of these really. And then lastly Typhon, which of course you can play because we have plenty of extra deck space. Now even though we do have plenty of extra deck space, I do not think it's worth committing more slots to deck building around a singular Extrav. I think to do things where you play like 2 Mondo, 2 SP, 2 IP, you should probably play at least 2 Extravagance, because with only 1, I'm very rarely drawing this card, so the games where I don't draw it, I want to have my complete toolbox available to me, which is why I chose IP for my only 2 of, because 2 IP actually does come up to play around the Miru. And then that is the 15 card extra deck. And then onto the side deck, we have Freelancier, very normal, and I don't play Meows because I was already happy with my side pattern against Malice, so I play Free Boldrake. This card is good into Mitsurugi and into Mitsu anything, into Fiendsmith anything. It's good because it tributes monsters, so it triggers the effects of your Mitsu cards. And this deck does have an issue with Caesar too, and it's good because against Mitsurugi, I side in 9 cards going second, because I put in Free Boldrake, I put in 2 Nibiru, and I put in 3 Ash, and I put in a Wosu as well. And essentially I try and just pair up Double Hand Trap to completely demolish their board and hand advantage, because you can pair Bestials, you can pair Bestial Nib, you can pair Nib Hand Trap, and it works really well in both testing and the event, because I think you cannot let that deck play, and even if you let them play, then you do have access to that Wosu Steel, which although I don't think is amazingly great to main deck, is still important to side deck because it is of course never going to be a brick going second, unlike in game 1 where it is a brick. Yeah, Boldrake was great, I loved it, very very good, and I would definitely recommend playing it in the pure version of Mitsurugi. I wouldn't play it in the main deck because it doesn't have enough coverage into the non-Mitsurugi decks. And then I just played Crossout and Talents. We main Callby, so we side the other 2, and the Purification. So I don't play Solemns. I think playing Solemns is bait. I think that if you put Solemns in your side deck, then you will find that when you face a non-Malice, non-Mitsu deck going second, you will have not enough cards to put in, because you have to play Freelancier. So then you have like a 6-card side deck going second if you put in Solemns, because you won't have anything to put in. So I wanted to have Ash instead, so going first, I take out the 6 Charmies and I put in 3 Ash, cross out Talents and the Trap. If they side into more Charmies, if they keep the Charmies in, which they will obviously, then it hits those. If not, it's fine to have into Engine. It does quite often the same thing as Solemn Strike would even, while at the same time still being a nice card to have going second as well. So also matchups where I would put in Nibiru going first too. The patterns for every deck is all in the masterclass as well, but you can get the kind of main idea of we take out 6 Charmies going first, we put in a minimum of 3 Ash, and these 3 because Ash always hits either Engine or Charmy going first. Had no things I wanted to change, so although I did lose to Malice in the end, I beat the same player Tony in Swiss as well, and I don't think Meows would help me in the game, but I lost either. To learn more about Mitsurugi and get professional level help for Yu-Gi-Oh!, head on over to the Balance Biblioteca and redeem your free trial month with the promo code BALANCE100. But there's only 100, so make haste. I'd like to close this video out with a massive thank you to all my friends who made the weekend fun with their football chanting, and all of my opponents who were sound people and great to play against, and everyone else who cheered me on. The European Championship is the next big event that you will catch me at in July, and I have a lot more content stuff planned for before then and after. Thank you for watching, and yeah, adios.